Welcome back. You're watching the Power Breakfast Show. Now, there are many different skin conditions that people experience in their lives. A lot of times, it tends to be a scenario that can cause one to suffer from low self-esteem. And this morning, we want to have that discussion. We're joined by Dr. Ian Kamuri, a dermatologist, to understand more on the different skin conditions we face and how to go about it. A very good morning to you, sir. Thank you very much for coming. And we're going to talk about, different skin conditions, but let's start with what is most popular. Acne. Acne is a condition that affects many of us, but then there are others who don't get acne. So what is acne and who does it affect?
Well, acne is a medical term, but what layman call is pimples.
Yes.
And I hear somebody saying, no, me, I don't have acne, I have pimples.
Yes.
But it is one and the same thing. But what it is, for you to get acne, you must have an oily skin. There are three types of skin. There is an oily skin, there is a normal skin, and a dry skin. Anybody who has an oily skin, and I always tell people, if you want to know whether you have an oily skin, just wipe your forehead. If you find it, if your hand is now oily, then definitely you have an oily skin, and you are more prone to getting acne.
Okay.
Acne, you can get acne because of many things. One of the commonest is genetic. If, for example, your mother or father had acne, you are likely to get acne. That's the commonest. Two, you can get acne when you have hormonal changes. Hormonal changes do change in several times in our life. The commonest is the adolescent.
Yes.
When people are moving from being a child to being a teenage, what we call the teen age, many people get hormonal changes, and that hormonal changes by itself now causes acne. You can also have hormonal changes when you are getting premenopausal, when you have been in the obstetric career, and now you are about to exit, and you are about to pause many things. Even that time, because of that hormonal changes, now you can get adult onset acne. There are other people who get acne because of their lifestyle. One, there are those people who pick things. Anytime you get something like looking like a lotion, you just want to smear it on your face. If you hear so-and-so is using this, you also want to use it. And then once you apply some of those things, they also tend to activate the acne. The other commonest thing is the concoction. Some people are now using concoctions that they want to lighten.
And we'll get there. And we'll get there.
Again, those concoctions, what makes you lighter, become lighter, is actually a steroid component. And if you apply steroids on your face, again, you are more prone to get acne. Okay.
Now, you talked about, hormonal changes, and our viewer could be watching and wondering, then does that mean it mostly affects women and not men?
No,
and if it does affect men, what has brought about it?
One thing I want to tell you, the fact that people say hormones, even men have hormones. It's only that we have different levels of hormones. And actually, acne affects more men than women, statistically. However, it worries more women than men. You understand?
Yes, I do.
Because when you see a man with one pimple, or two pimple, or even 20, it doesn't bother him. But like you, if you get one pimple today, I'm telling you, Kirigo, I'm sure tomorrow you'll ask for a sick off, what? So literally, it bothers women more than, and actually in our clinic, I will tend to see more women with acne than men. All right, and I want our director to put up a picture there of we've seen acne, and then there's severe acne. There are those few people who have, look at that, there are those people who have that severe acne. What causes that? In the same thing, this is actually not severe acne.
No?
This is just acne. I will tell you, acne there is mild, moderate, and severe. And even beyond severe, there is something we call nodular cystic acne. Acne that you have like balls of them on the face.
Yes, that.
Yes, like you see this one now is severe acne. If you compare this and the other one,
what we had before,
this is severe acne. And it is severe acne because, one, it has those big looking like boils, boils, multiple boils. And then the severity also can come when you have more than 3 parts of the body involved. You have it on the face, and sometimes on the chest, the back, and even the shoulders. That's what we call severe acne. What makes it severe? What makes it severe? One, we have said about hormones, and then there is coronation. There is bacteria that come inside. There is a bacteria we call P. acne. that actually triggers this. And that's why when we are treating it, you also have to put an antibiotic for management of acne. That makes it more severe. The other thing that makes a mild acne to severe, again, is the use of steroids. Normally, what people do, and I say what Kenyans do, when you get 2-3 acne, you go to a chemist and tell them, I want something to clear this. And some of the people are not professional. They just want to give you something. And what do they give you? They give you a cream called steroids. Any of the steroids you apply, 1 or 2 days it will clear, but immediately you stop, again it becomes worse. So actually steroids will make a relatively mild acne to a severe acne.
So then how do you manage, acne with the number of products we have in the shelves, different reviews coming from different people? So if I have acne, how then should I manage it?
No, basically, let's do this. When you have acne, the first thing, there are do's and the don'ts.
Yes.
What I always say, the don'ts of acne is pinching, removing. You will see most of you will not even, you will even be late to work because you are on the mirror squeezing it and then pulling it.
Yes.
Hands off. It's called hands off acne. If you have pimples, you don't break, because once you break, what happens? 1, you introduce infection, and 2, even if it heals faster, you are left with spots. And one of the most difficult things to remove in a black skin like mine and yours is actually spots. Once you have spots, they are so difficult to remove. So if you must avoid spots, then you must avoid breaking. So again, you don't have to wash your face so many times. And then also, even washing, you don't have to wash with those things, rough things. Some people cut part of sacks and then you see they are fighting with their face because they have acne. Acne cannot be removed by rubbing it so hard. And in fact too, we also don't encourage, if you have acne, especially active acne, we don't encourage scrubs. This issue of scrubbing, and we don't encourage, because again you make the face feel nice, but after that you trigger the process of forming so many spots. So when you have acne, what do you do? If it is mild, we have mild soaps. There are some soaps that we use for acne, and 2, there are some creams that we apply, 1 for the morning and another one for the evening. One of the evening is a very common product called retinoic acid derivative. I will not give you the names because now people will just be going
to run.
But we have a retinoic acid derivative that works very well for the night. You don't use it during the day because it reacts with the sun. During the day, there is something we call benzoic acid, benzoic peroxide acid. Again, you apply. Initially, you may feel some burning sensation, peeling, and peeling is not a bad thing. When you are on those medication, peeling is good. Then, the use of sunscreen. I know many people don't like using sunscreen because they say, oh, my skin is dark.
It's tough.
Let me. Sunscreen have a very good role of helping the skin not to form those black spots even after the acne. So you use, during the day you apply the medicine and you put a sunscreen on top. At night you clean again and you apply that medicine. If it is severe, that you have those things like these small boils, then the role of antibiotic. There are those what we call minocycline derivatives or doxycycline. Again, those ones you use. When it gets to that extent, where we, like the one I was showing you, the nodular cystic, there is something we call isotretinoin. Isotretinoin, now we use it the extreme. It is the extreme edge where now it is so severe that and even people will tend to get scars even after it heals. Now we use isotretinoin. For women, there are 2 types of women. Women who are within the reproductive and the women who are just before menopausal. You have given birth, your children, and you are not worried about hormones. There is very good hormonal therapy you can actually use which regulates. For young girls, especially, people can get acne because they have another problem in the ovary, what we call polycystic ovarian disease, where your ovaries get some cysts. These cysts tend to produce some hormones. Now, this hormone automatically, other than giving you very painful menses or very uncontrollable menses or sometimes irregular menses, they also now cause acne. So any lady or any young lady, 15, between 18 up to around 20, 25, 30, and you are still getting acne and those painful or what you call dysmenorrhea, then you need to have your ovaries checked. And once you have the ovaries checked and you see that there is acne as well, now we also use hormonal therapy. There are some now pills we use, and I see people saying, me, I cannot use pills. This time we are not giving you the pill because we want to prevent you from getting pregnant.
No.
We are giving you the pills because we want to treat your acne and as well as treat the ovarian cyst.
Yes.
However, for those people now who have none of those and they have acne and they are that 30 and above, also the pill does very well because it controls the acne, it controls you not getting pregnant, and it makes you feel, you know, you look good.
You look comfortable. Yeah. Now, there are those who talk about, you know, using, what is it, bar soap?
Yes.
To wash their face. I feel it's a bit too harsh on the face. I'd like to hear a doctor's point.
In fact, and I'm happy that you are the one saying it, because when I say it, people think I'm becoming personal. Bar soap was actually meant for clothes. It was not meant for anybody's skin. And that's why you actually, it is cheap, I know, people like it, but people say, oh, it has no chemicals. There is nothing that has no chemical that can be able to remove that from clothes. So anytime you use bar soap, there are only one problem with bar soap. One, it's very harsh on your skin, so you actually age faster.
Okay.
And then two, it still has crude, it has raw
products,
chemicals. So once you use it, you know, even if you are washing it, there is no time you remove all the chemicals from you. So eventually when you go out, you actually get photosensitivity. You actually get reaction from the effect of the sun.
Yes.
So eventually you end up having a very bad face. Okay. You may not have acne, but you end up having
a very dry face.
So let's use bar soap for what is supposed to be used.
Washing clothes. All right. Let's move to the next skin condition, and that's eczema. How do you explain eczema to the common man?
Well, I'll tell you, eczema just means inflammation of the skin.
Inflammation of the skin.
What we call dermatitis. Anything that causes inflammation of the skin, we call it eczema. Okay. If it's American, we call it eczema. If it is British, we call it dermatitis.
Okay.
But now, in layman, what everybody, when they hear about eczema, is a certain condition that affects the skin, where the skin is itchy, becomes red, and then scales out. That is what people know it about eczema. And the commonest eczema that people know is what we call atopic eczema. Atopic because it runs in families, and it is associated with other atopic conditions. Like you will find somebody who has eczema now, that one will have itchy eyes, will have always sneezing, they tend to get asthma.
Okay.
Those are all included in one component, what we call atopy.
Yes.
And it runs in families.
Okay.
And majority you will see it in children. And they start as early as 3 months, when you see people with patches of red, and then maybe the scalp, then the cheek, and then eventually come to the neck. As the child grows up, it comes to the fractures area and even behind the knee. And then eventually, majority of the children, by the time they are 5 years, they outgrow the problem. That's why you will not see many people with eczema when they are older.
What about the ones who are older and still have eczema? I know someone.
You see, diseases don't read books.
True.
The books say most of the people will resolve by the time they are 5 years. Others don't get it.
Okay.
And it will start when they are older. Others, it will start when they are young, and it continues all the way up to adulthood. Others, it will clear by the time they are 5 years, and then it starts coming back. And it comes back in many ways. It can come back in ways that you hear somebody, when they wear certain shoes, they start itching around there, and they say, oh, it's Mutumba shoe. No, you are just reacting to that type of that's still an eczema. There are people who will wear a watch. There are people who will use a roll-on and they just start itching. There are people who will wear these chains. Some people say it's pure gold from down here, and yet it has zero gold. It's just painted. So they will tell you this is pure gold. You will not react. But once you put, you will see again fellas with reaction on the neck.
Yes.
Again, all these, and the others even react to rubber, such that when they wear some pants and such, they get reaction around pressure areas. All of those are forms of eczema.
Okay.
There are many types of eczemas.
Okay. Any specific reason why eczema tends to show up here or behind the knee?
Yes, as I've told you, now that is the atopic eczema, the genetic eczema.
Okay.
As you grow, as I said, when you are infertile or when you are an infant, it comes on the cheeks.
Yes.
As the child grows older, it settles on the flexure areas. This here, here, here. That is its natural cause. And you will see it on both sides, this side and this side, this side and this side. That is a typical presentation of eczema.
Okay. People
with eczema also tend to have a dry skin. Naturally, they have a very dry skin. And what we always encourage, if you have eczema and you want to avoid relapse, again, eczema keeps relapsing. It keeps coming, going, coming, going. Even if you are treated by which doctor, where, it will still keep going and coming. So what we advise people, the first thing is avoid harsh soaps. Again, these are not the people you put on that bar soap, the popular bar soap. Bar soap makes you very dry. So again, once you are dry, you start itching, and then you tend to trigger the eczema.
Yes.
2, you must moisturize that skin. Moisturize meaning you apply mafuta on it.
Is it scented mafuta or just?
No, scenting does not. Scenting is just for cosmetic and feeling good.
Okay.
But otherwise, there are many moisturizers. There are 2 types of moisturizer. There is a moisturizer that you apply and adds water on you. And there is that moisturizer also you apply and it stops your water from evaporating. So choose a good moisturizer, the one that you're comfortable with. And also for the children, we like actually giving them a variety so that you choose the moisturizer the child feels like they want this one. Once you start using moisturizer many times, the chances of acne relapsing becomes less.
Eczema relapsing.
Yes.
Okay. So managing it is really, because you said it's something that could relapse.
It will relapse, but that does not mean you don't manage the eczema. Again, here now we go back. Now the only drug of choice for eczema is steroid. But whenever I say that, everybody says, oh, but steroids is bad. Steroids are also good as long as they are being prescribed by the doctor.
By the doctor.
And steroids are time bound. You are supposed to use them up to a certain point, then you stop. Steroid is not something every time the eczema comes you run and say nipe ile dawa yangu. You know, naturally that's how we do it, because you don't want to see the doctor again. You just want to go picking, and anytime you use steroid for a very long time, there are side effects, and there are many. The side effects are many, including making your skin very thin until that you get bruised very easily. Even if somebody taps you like this, you start bleeding. So eczema, the drug of choice is steroid, but there are other also non-steroidal products that we use in the market.
The next condition, which I learned about a few years ago, is that of psoriasis, the one that looks like small...
Yes, plaques.
Yes, even ringworms sometimes.
Yes.
What is psoriasis, and what brings about psoriasis?
Well, psoriasis, as the name is, I know it's a very difficult name. Sometimes our skin, normal skin, takes 28 days to regenerate. Anytime, even if you are doing anything, in 28 days your skin will have changed. But in psoriasis, that time takes 5 days. For your skin to mature and drop, it takes 5 days. But now, that's the problem, because that fast growth does not mature into completion. So you end up forming cells that are not complete, and they cannot shed off naturally. You know, we actually shed off our skin naturally, like a snake. You see our snake, even you shed off your skin naturally every time. For every time the day gets to 28 to 30 days, the cells fall off. It's only that they fall at different times. You don't notice. That's why otherwise you will be noticing every day. But now in psoriasis, the cells mature so fast that they form those plaques that don't fall off easily, so they get stuck on the skin, and now you see that psoriasis. Luckily in Kenya, we only have the skin psoriasis. Rarely do we have joint psoriasis. But in the West, majority of the people will have that psoriasis, and it comes also with the joint. So you end up getting joint involvement, and it's a quite debilitating disorder. In fact, last year it was now grouped in the as one of the disabilitating diseases by WHO.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay, and the signs and symptoms of psoriasis?
Other than getting, sometimes you get itchy, then you get scaly. You get a lot of dandruffs.
Yes. People
will say, oh, it's dandruff. Then you go, you try to use all those anti-dandruff shampoo. It's not resolving. You just end up having those scaly lesions. And then you also get other plaques on the skin, and then you get joint involvement. You get very hard nails, and then you get pits of the nails, and sometimes they fall off.
Yes.
That by itself can tell you now, I'm not just dealing with a problem, I'm dealing with psoriasis. Recently, as recent as 5 years ago, we have also discovered that actually psoriasis has other comorbidities. That is, it has other conditions that are related to it. And that's why now, initially we didn't used to get worried about psoriasis. But nowadays, anytime we see somebody has psoriasis, we now look for other things. We look for diabetes. We look for what we call obesity is likely to come. We look for other cardiac problems, what we are now calling comorbidity. So anytime we see you have psoriasis, we have to screen you for other problems, because it has been shown that you may end up developing other problems, which can actually compromise your life. That's why we now like following up people with psoriasis.
Okay, and what's the treatment like?
The treatment, basically, one, there is no cure. I know many people hate hearing that statement. There is no cure, but we must face reality. But you can control it. There are some creams we give so that you get a normal skin. There are others we give something to swallow. One of the commonest drug we use is methotrexate. And I know anytime we give patient methotrexate and then they go to a pharmacy, they ask, well, this medicine is for cancer. No, methotrexate has so many other uses. One of the use is use in psoriasis. And then now we even have recent where we are using UV, ultraviolet rays. We just, if you have generalized psoriasis, we put you in that machine, and then we put the light on. It's blue light, what we call a narrow band UVB. We expose you up to a certain level. It is safe, and now the psoriasis is shed off.
Okay, and then now we'll go back to that one that everyone is talking about nowadays, and that's skin lightening. A lot of people are doing it, and maybe you can explain to us what that process entails. I mean, one day I'm black, the next day I'm...
Yeah, the next day you are white.
Yes.
Let me tell you, the first thing I say, call it lightening, call it bleaching, is the same. When you are in east of Tomboya Street, they will talk of bleaching.
Yes.
Because there is no swag.
Yes.
When you are west of it is lightening. Where when you go to Yaya Sari, it's lightening.
It's lightening.
But it means the same. You are just bleaching yourself. And what are you doing? One, and I like saying this categorical. One, you are actually reverting nature. You are challenging God and telling you, God, you are wrong, and God is really wrong. If you are given a black skin, God had a purpose why they gave you a black skin.
True.
If you are light, and God knew why He was doing. So what is this lightening and bleaching? Lightening just means you use a chemical that actually removes the skin color, what we call melanin.
Melanin, yes.
It actually removes the melanin, and you are left without melanin. What we should ask ourselves, what does melanin do? Melanin is a pigment color, and it actually absorbs the UV. It protects you from the effect of the sun. So once you remove melanin, automatically that tells you now you are exposed to the sun. And what does the sun do? The sun does two major things. Other than us enjoying the sun and feeling nice and giving us day and night, the sun makes us age. If there was no sun, all of us would be having a skin of a baby. So once you remove the melanin and the effect of the sun comes direct to you, you age like 10 times faster.
Yes.
That's one. Two, the melanin protects us from UV damage, ultraviolet damage of the sun. And that's why, if you look at the cancer prevalence on the skin in the West is so high as compared to us here. us here, we have no problem with cancers of the skin. Despite, I mean, you've heard people are talking about cancer, right, left, center. We are not talking about so much about cancer of the skin. So once you lighten your skin, you expose that skin to the effect of the sun, then you have direct damage by UV. The chances of you getting cancers of the skin when you are 40s and 50 is very high.
It's very high.
It will come. It will come. We are getting others. Bleaching was an effect. We had a major bleaching regime in the 70s.
Yes.
Now those people who did that is the time we are having the effect now. We are managing now them for cancers of those skin. Now this is a swag now that is going. People must be light. Now we will have again another bout of maybe in another 10, 15 years. So people just use chemicals. What do those chemicals have? One, that chemical, most of them will give you a concoction. It's not one. They will give you a concoction which has mercury, which has a compound called hydroquinone. Hydroquinone, and it has steroids. Hydroquinone is actually the bleaching agent, is the dye. You know how you dye, you know how you, now that is the one that wipes the color. The steroid now does the smooth, the soothing, so that you don't feel the damage.
Wow.
And normally, eventually what happens, yes, you look nice, but the truth of the matter is, you look nice from far, but not, you are far from good. If you go closer to somebody who has lightened their skin and you look at them directly, you will actually see the skin is actually what we call pseudo skin, is a fake skin, because it is lightened. But that does not worry us. What worries us as the compound also you are using, eventually, because the skin is absorbing them, two things happen. One, you get local effects on the skin. You start getting blood vessels on the skin becoming hyperproliferated or excessive excessive growth. So you start getting somebody with you have seen varicose vein, those two small varicose veins on the, you get similar ones on the face. Two, you now start, the body also absorbs as you use these to bleach, especially if you are bleached everywhere, the body absorbs this hydroquinone, and most of our body is so well done that you actually filter them. It filters those chemicals, and where are they filtered in? Kidney. So eventually, you looked nice during 20s, 30s. Come 40s and 50s, now we have to see you again because their kidney has gone bonkers. It has refused to work. So eventually, we treat them for either liver problem or kidney problem.
But then, Dr. Kamuri, a question. The hydroquinone is, why do these parts remain? The knuckles?
The knuckles, because the amount of skin, even if you look at your knuckles, anywhere you are, the amount of melanin on the knuckles is higher. And then they are mobile, so most of it is not absorbed here.
Okay.
So it is being absorbed in those quiet places. But you see, in fact, if you want to know somebody who has bleached, you will always look at there. You will note, and then the edge of the nails, the knees. You see this one
has done something. Okay, now, so we've bleached. We've done the skin lightening process. Of course, can it be reversed?
Now that's the danger. Once bleached, it's done.
It's over.
It's done. So we can only camouflage you. Unakuja tunapaka kiwi. But basically, there is nothing we can do once you remove your melanin. And that's why we are telling people, it is good. It is good to look the way you want. But sometimes, let us know about the consequences.
Okay.
There are other products that people are using, swallowing. One thing I'll tell you, and this is what I like preaching, black is gold. Black, me and you see, even you are light, but you are still black. You have your natural color. That is protective. Let's keep it. Let's safeguard it. It protects you to so many other things. And beauty, you are still so beautiful. In fact, if you must know, you see, it's only that people don't go. When you go to Europe, when they see a black lady, and look at even the Oscar-winning awards, the people who win are actually blacks. Why? Because they love that color. But the people who have not moved, they just want to be the white. Whites admire our skin so much, so because they know how precious it is.
The black Americans say black don't crack.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't crack.
Because it doesn't, they are hardy skin.
Yes, they are hardy skins. Okay, so fine. Now we've done the lightening process. We've said it's not reversible. How then do you take care of your skin, you know?
Once you have bleached.
Once I've bleached and once... Because I'm assuming it's a continuous program.
Oh, yes. Continuous program. People will still continue and they are still coming.
I'll get tired of it. I want to believe at some point I'll stop bleaching.
Absolutely.
So how do I take care of my skin? What do I need to do?
One, when they, like I will tell you, most of them come now. They come to us when things have started now going bad.
Really?
Yeah, and then they start now getting also the acne that we were talking because of using the medicine. So the first thing you also don't go and telling them you are a very bad person, it was wrong. Of course you still tell them it was wrong in a nice way, but now you have to now try to look for rejuvenating creams. You want to rejuvenate the skin.
Okay.
Two, you tell them for them sunscreen is not a choice, it's mandatory. You must put them on sunscreen, and you put them on very high what we call SPF, the sun protecting factor, minimum 50. Yeah, with that you protect them, they moisturize, and at night they must sleep on the night cream, those re-energizing night creams, and then we see what will happen.
Okay.
After some time, the good thing, the skin will still rejuvenate itself, but the melanin are gone. They still remain light, which is okay, but you try to rejuvenate their skin until for a long time. Okay,
and we're coming to the end, and something has just popped up on my head, the issue of facial hair in women.
Yeah, facial hair in women comes because of hormonal changes. Some is genetic. In fact, if you go to Western and the REC region, you'll find many ladies have it. If you go to Nigeria, West Africa, again, it's a common thing. If you go to the Zulus, it's a common thing. It is hormonal and there is genetic. What do we do? Basically, we first check whether you have hormonal imbalance. If you don't have hormonal imbalance, then we remove it. We normally do laser. We do laser and we remove it. It is not a one-off process, but eventually you actually remove it.
Okay.
We do it here locally, and it's not that expensive.
Okay. We've talked about, you know, all the things we need to do. I just want to hear your thoughts on the role of diet and water in ensuring that our skins remain as beautiful as they are, as glowing as they are.
One, I will say, the skin is actually the window. Is the window that covers what is inside, and when you see a good skin, it means even inside is good. When you see a bad skin, then there is always a problem even in the inside. So what I always say, the first thing, balanced diet. What we call a balanced diet is good for the skin. Two, use of fruits. They are very good. In fact, I see people using a lot of antioxidants, and what sometimes you can actually eat fruits and they will still give you natural antioxidants. Three, use of water. Water is good at any time. It cleans you. It cleans your body. It cleans everything. So even when you take water, it actually nourishes your skin and it nourishes your body. So water is very, very important. I am not those people who tell you must take 8 glasses per day, but just take adequate amount of water. But also you need for the skin. I know many people don't take the skin seriously, but moisturizing the skin, use of mild soaps, and also use of sunscreen and night creams. They are very important if you must remain young. Avoid the sun.
Avoid the sun. All right, Dr. Kamuri, thank you very much for joining us this morning. That was very informative. Of course, I know a number of questions have come through, but our time is up. But you've covered everything extensively, so thank you very much for joining us. You're watching the Power Breakfast Show. I want to say thank you for joining us this Tuesday morning. Hoping that you've been informed, you've been educated, you've been entertained. On behalf of everyone who makes this show a success, Nasema Kwaheri, I hand you over to the band to take us to the top of the hour. Good morning.